So it finishes 2-2 between Liverpool and Brighton. But after those two early goals for Klopp's men, Janusz, it looked as though it was going to be plain sailing for them.
Yes, it did. Premier League has a funny way of bringing you down to earth, right? In a way, and there's different reasons for that. Before I get to them, this one should be straightforward. And of course, I was talking about, the big win at Old Trafford, 5-0, historic one, really, because that'll probably never happen again, at least not in my lifetime. And here it looked to be easy, right? At Anfield, obviously, great starts. That often happens. 4th minute and 24th, 2-0, and even that third goal, right? Rightly disallowed. But just imagine the third one goes in. It was unlucky in so many ways, right? And the game's over. There's no recovery from that 3-0. But then, of course, that changed everything. But I think, before we even go on about Liverpool, what happened or what did not happen, I think Brighton were tremendous. Even in the first even in the first half, if you remember, in the second minute, Solly March had a great chance saved. At 1-0, they had another one with Bissouma. I think it was a great save from Alisson. So they've always been in that game. Liverpool may have looked overwhelming at times, but Brighton didn't simply just sit there. Credit to Brighton and Graham Potter. We know where they are in the table. They've been tremendous, aside from that loss to Manchester City. But in the second half, it was all about Brighton. And I mentioned Bissouma. He was so important. I'll get to that Liverpool midfield maybe later if you remember to ask me, and I forget. But in the wide areas, Trent struggled, and so did Robertson, and Trossard scoring. And in the end, it almost felt like Liverpool, I don't want to say we're lucky to get a point, but I'm sure they're happy because that could have very easily gone the other way, and with all 3 points being lost. I mean, Trossard did score a goal, obviously didn't count, but value for money for Brighton and then some at Anfield to be playing like that. It takes some talent.
Yeah, lovely comeback from Brighton. It seems that Graham Potter may have Klopp's number because that's 3 undefeated for Brighton against Liverpool. But you mentioned the Liverpool midfield. Let's get into it then.
Well, I mean, I often say that sometimes you cheat the system a little bit, and we've seen that in games. And it's unfortunate for Liverpool because they've been missing key players. And even at Old Trafford, remember, obviously no Thiago Alcantara, no Fabinho. And then even within that game, such a big and important game, James Milner got injured, if you remember. And of course, Naby Keita, that terrible tackle for Paul Pogba. But yet, they've recovered. Here we come into this game. And again, Naby Keita comes off early. And all of a sudden, that midfield continues to be asked these big questions to deliver. And I think that, they didn't. I can understand why a little bit, because you can only do that, for a game or 2 or 3. Maybe that's, maybe that was too much of an ask because their former player, Adam Lallana was tremendous. Mwepu on that left-hand side was often coming inside as well. And although I don't want to say it was just about the middle of the pitch, but certainly key players were missing there, and I think it was a little bit too much. But overall, I just thought defensively, Konate wasn't the same. And even Van Dijk to a degree, they were being asked questions all over the pitch in that second half. So I don't know if I want to pick on 1 or 2 players because it didn't look like the first half.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.